Guess what, everybody? Yep, it's that time. Shit Talking Sundays in the Light of a Warrior. We're going to be talking with the MS Warrior about her journey with multiple sclerosis. And if you were watching last week, we were talking about the 9 myths. And today, we are talking about part 2, continuation. This might even turn into a three-part thing, but without further ado, let's get right to it because it seems like this is a hot topic. So, what's going on?
Hey, evening. How are you?
Well, you know me. I'm always blessed because I'm breathing, and so are you
Right?
because you're listening to my shit talking Sunday. Because every day it's shit talking Sunday. So if you haven't liked, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, then I don't know what the problem is because you come here and you just look and you're not trying to support by at the very least, like
It's
and share.
free.
Yeah, and it's free. No, just don't hit that notification button. But
Please.
disclaimer, let's get that out the way because I think we've been forgetting to do that. Uh,
Mm-mm, I
remember,
haven't.
this isn't medical advice. It's just her journey with multiple sclerosis. So, talk to your doctor first if you're having a medical emergency. Please call 911. And without further ado, I'm going to leave the show up to you. Hey.
All right. Hey guys, welcome warriors. Welcome my viewers. Happy Tuesday evening. I hope everybody had a grand night and a better today. So, always first and foremost, everything I say tonight on this podcast about my journey is solely what my medical team has put on board for yours truly. What may be good for me may not be good for you. What they've put on board for you may not be good for me, vice versa. So I would never give you doctor medical advice to tell you to go do this, take what I'm taking. That never. I'm not portraying to be a doctor by any means. If you feel you are in dire straits and in a medical emergency, please, please, please dial 911. Reach out to your medical team, your family, and if not that, a friend. Um, Help is always there. Okay, so hey, what's been going on this week for everybody? Listening. Get in there, get in that chat room. Come on, don't be shy. Get in there. I'm open for questions too as well. I had some questions directly through my YouTube channel, and which I answer a lot of stuff there and everything. And I would like to say, just like I just mentioned, because I do talk about on my YouTube channel and here on the podcast that what my medical team has put on board for me. Okay, what works for me, um, again, you may not be able to take or tolerate what I tolerate. So, what I use prior to injecting, that's because my doctor put it on board and it works for me. I had one of my warriors talk to me today about that. Um, I did, and I have posted in my previous videos about my journey on medications, Kesimpta, Allegra, Tylenol, those things. But you always talk to your own doctor before you jump on anybody else's medical regimen. Okay, it's very vital. You may be allergic to something in Allegra or Tylenol that I am not, and I tolerate it and it works, um, for me. So you guys, please, please, please always consult your neurologist, your family physician, PhD. Always, always, always. And you know, if that works for you, then kudos. Um, I'm funny about medicines. I don't care what works for someone else because I'm a chicken. I just don't, and I've been this way in life. I've never been a pill taker or anything. I was in my late 30s before I even took a ibuprofen. Late 30s. Yeah. So it's weird, but I remember years, I was younger and not a child age, but just older in my 20s, early 30s, and I took a Tylenol. Man, I had to sleep it off, so my system is really naive and sensitive to stuff. So I just want to say if someone tells me, oh, yeah, this works really, really good for me, you should try it. Not me. I'm a chicken. I'm a scaredy cat. I will, I won't do it, you know, and, um, and I'm kind of glad I am that way because then I don't have to worry about, right, Steph, a half a one. Hi, Steph. She knows that's my best friend. She's been in my life just about all my life. So, um, yeah, so anyone knows it's her. So yeah, I'm a chicken and my system is very naive to stuff. So I'm not really one to jump on somebody else's bandwagon and be like, yes, man, that works for you. Pass me some. No, I'm a damn chicken, but it works that really well for me that way, especially with the medicines nowadays, especially if you are on other medications, you never know how something can interact with that. And even though my doctor prescribes what he knows is compatible with each other, I still do my own research. Oh, yes, the hell I do, because um, anybody can make a mistake. So I use Drugs RX to check the interactions with every medication that I take that he is going to add, on that list. I do my own fact check. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Um, I want to make sure because, like I say, I'm a chicken and my body is really naive to everything. So I want to make sure that they're not overlooking something about me and what I'm taking so we don't have no mishaps. So that's it. That's important to me and stuff. So um just with me getting a comment for me to chime in and give them some advice. I love giving advice from my experiences, but when it comes to medicines and stuff, I definitely don't want you to have any side effects, especially those nasty ones, but at the same time, please check with your medical team to make sure that you can take those. Okay. So where we left off last Tuesday, I'm going to pick up there because it was a good talk about multiple sclerosis and the 9 myths that are associated, I guess, with multiple sclerosis, things that, that people want to know, of course, amongst the long list of questions, of course, but they've kind of narrowed it down to 9, I guess, the most asked questions that need, answer. And they, put it out there as, you know, true or a myth. Okay. Last week we left off on number 3. So I'm going to start on number 4. And by all means, anybody chime in. So the 4th myth on the list was exercise can help with your symptoms of MS and improve balance and strength. Okay. Should people with multiple sclerosis exercise or should they not? And a lot of people think that they shouldn't exercise because of doing more damage to the body. If you are lacking mobility, a lot of people are afraid to work that because they're afraid of further damage or the pain, what's going to happen after you exercise it, or you're too weak to exercise. But the answer to that is a myth. Of course, everyone's mobility and physical capabilities are different. Okay. So not all of us can exercise. Of course, if someone is wheelchair bound, bed bound, um, things of that nature, then of course your doctor would tell you yay or nay. Just as if someone like yourself and myself, I still can stand up, I can still walk. Um, I still have troubles, yes, but I still can. Okay, so my doctor would tell me, well, we want you to strengthen your core to be able to, keep your body upright, of course, because with multiple sclerosis, you lose a lot of muscle mass. Okay, because of our fatigue levels, we are not as active. On top of our mobility issues, we are not as active as we were prior. Okay. And for someone who is of a heavier frame, that's even more on somebody's energy level to do exercising. So your doctor would put on board what they feel you should start as, and I'm sure it's going to be something low. Okay, they're not just going to say, well, go, you can go to the gym and lift 300-pound weights and don't worry about it, you'll be fine. No, I can bet my money on it that wouldn't be the case, right? So but they say exercising definitely keeps those muscles going. It keeps your blood flowing. Cardio was very good for the heart. You already know cardio and vascular, those two go together. So it's a win-win situation. You do have to take things in moderation as far as your mobility, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Now, I'll tell you personally. Okay, so I just stretch my legs, and this is a true thing that just happened. If you guys remember a couple of videos back, I kept complaining to you guys, my knee, it went and stopped hurting. I could barely walk on it. It was just really aching. And for 3 months, my knee just kept hurting. Well, I tried exercising a little bit with my bands. I bought medical bands. Larry would get in one side and then use his body weight, and I would do a couple of squats holding on to the bands. But at night, and I still get it, restless leg syndrome. So I stretch, at night. Well, those two things threw my leg out. So for my left side, and that's the leg that was bothering me because of the deficit. I noticed for me, I can't work that side too much. It starts to wreak havoc with pain on top of already the deficit that I experience. So I'm sure with that being said, and with your deficit, you would definitely need to speak to your doctor, and they would either send you out for physical therapy, and then of course doing some at home. And you guys know as well as I do, physical therapy PT is not going to keep you months and months on end just to get your um, your exercise in. So they will give you some on paper that you do at home. So mine is very low impact, even not even with weights, guys. I don't use weights like that. So because of my left side, being deficit, I can't burn it out or cause myself injury if I'm trying to use weights and doing too much, because this left side is gonna crumble. It is. It's gonna crumble. So I'm very careful of exercising. And you don't have to do weights to exercise to keep your muscles moving. I do a lot of leg lifts in bed and stuff like that just to keep that side and just body motion, period. Especially if I know if I've been down and haven't been too physical, I'll do stuff sitting on the edge of the bed. So that kind of stuff. Or I used to hang onto the counter in the kitchen and do little leg bends, raise one foot leg off the ground and rotate back and forth. That's still motion. Now, PT gave me those exercises coming out of the hospital, coming out of physical therapy when I lost movement in my legs for 4 days. I had to work my way up to that, and bam, here I am. So it worked. So yeah, you'd be surprised what the body can do on both sides. There can be a negative side, of course, with anything disease with the body mobility if you're stricken like that. And then on the good hand, the body is miraculous and it can do things that we become shocked over, like, wow, they recovered. um I've recovered. So that, I'm a little bit of a testament to that, guys, because I was so afraid that I was losing my legs, and not by amputation but by the strength, and be able to stand and feel my legs, be able to hold my body up. I mean, it was really scary. But determination, the mindset, of course, I didn't want that to happen. And I kept moving, moving, moving. My grandkids that live here, they would do exercises with me and, stuff like that. So I kept moving. Even days that I did not feel good, I got up. I multiple times a day and walked purposely to the kitchen, back to my bed, to keep that muscle going, the moving in my body, keeping it going, my heart, everything. I just kept getting up, and that builds strength, and it kind of tells that disease, that attack at that time, after you've come off that attack, flare, or relapse. It's called baseline. You want to come back or better to where you were before that attack. Um, I have always come back to baseline. And since being on the Kesimpta this year, over a year now, I think I'm in the best multiple sclerosis status than ever condition, honestly, all the way around, mentally, health wise. Take away the MS, and health wise, I'm stable, nothing new. Yes, I have the gray area in a small area of my right lung in the middle, which I see a pulmonary doctor for that. They don't think it's the C word or anything. So they've passed me through oncology already. I already went to oncology. They passed me on. There's no need, they said, for me to see them. And it could have been damage from smoking. Yes, I was a former smoker. And also, and I've talked about this before in a prior video. My neurologist looked at the film and he said it looks like I had COVID not long time ago, but sometime recently, to that test was done, because he said, if it was a long time ago, I was sick right before COVID started. Right after I got sick, I had a fever and didn't feel good, like I had the flu symptoms, for a day. That following month, COVID was on the news. But he said if I would have had COVID then, my lung wouldn't have looked like it did now. It would have healed. So, um, who knows? We'll find out when they do another scan to say, oh, it looks different than your last lung screening. If that happens, guys, that means most likely that I had some type, could it be COVID and me be asymptomatic? Darn well can. We can't rule that out. Um, I have been exposed to people who have COVID and I haven't caught it. No one in my home, knock on wood, them too, they've been exposed and none of us have caught it. But if caught it, caught it. I think I kind of run those together. But is that a word? Continent? No, it's not. Incontinent? Yes. But anyway, shimble shambles, right? But so if they take another lung screening and they say, "Oh, your lung looks like it's healed itself," and which your lungs do, they heal themselves. Um, then we might say, "Oh, shoot, did you have COVID?" And so, and I'm hoping that's the case. I really am. I'm hoping that's the case, because then I don't have to worry about, you know, how did you get this damage? You know, and how what damage has this actually done to my lung? Is it irreversible because it caused it? Is it from smoking? Is it one good thing though, and I'm learning stuff now because from my father's lung screening, there's something in the way of one of his airways in the lung, and mine is not. So, which of course, because I know the difference in the dynamics, um, it's a wonderful thing, because then, if need be, if they need to go in there and remove something, that's what we don't want it to be, intertwined or passing through an airway, because then um, it's not surgical. Okay, it can be um, maybe possibly dealt with in another surgical form, but I wouldn't even say surgical, but you get what I'm saying. It won't be able to be removed surgically because of the airway. At this point, I don't know, but I will know um, soon when I go to these appointments. I've just been racked, guys, with appointments. And before, I'm sorry to start this number 4, and I gave you guys the answer, my answer to what my doctor has told me about exercising in MS is good for you, and it is advised so you don't lose muscle mass, because once you do, it's harder to get it back and you get weaker, and MS already contributes that factor. So it's always good to stay moving, physically, to build that muscle mass. Um, and I'm hoping, let me write this down because I want to share something with you guys. I don't want to get too far off track, but I want to give you guys an update on my dad, as I've been sharing that with you, because that's that's my everyday journey as well too. Um, So, and I'm gonna mess with this color because I look kind of darn pale, don't I? There, that's better. Sheesh. But yeah, no makeup, no hair, none of that. Today I'm too tired. I don't care about any of that. Y'all seen me, crazy hair, don't care, no makeup, no nothing. So, thank you for accepting me as I come. Okay, so that was number 4. Exercising is good for you under doctor supervision. How about that? It is not a myth. It's a myth on the negative side. That's not true. Okay, so number 5 is if my symptoms are minor, I do not need medication. Do any of my warriors out there, my viewers, have an answer to that? Come on, give you 4 seconds. Chime in, guys. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the question to that answer, well, the answer to the question is your doctors will tell you always on treatment is the best medicine for your MS. Now, are there reasons why you cannot go on treatment? Yes, there is. There's quite a bit of reasons why you can't be on treatment. Okay. Um, or certain treatment on top of that. Okay. Certain DMTs, disease modifying treatments, can stir up um, chicken pox in your body, make you have chicken pox. It can give you upper respiratory infections, sores in your nose. I've had that. It can cause your hemoglobins to be off Richter, your lymphocytes be raised, your liver. Certain medications can cause different anomalies in your body with your organs. Okay. Vision, your brain, the vessels behind your eyes can swell in your brain. There's so I couldn't even probably name them all off in an hour if I just named them, went down the list, because every medication that treats multiple sclerosis, they have their side effects, they have their probabilities, they have risk factors, they have the rare factors. I mean, there's so many guys to list. That's why educating yourself with multiple sclerosis to be on a disease modifying treatment is so important, and it's key to do the homework because of course you want to pick the best medicine, the best treatment as possible for your current health status. Now, if I had a heart problem, I wouldn't go pick a medication that um, heart disease, was a risk factor with that medication. Okay. So, of course, you wouldn't choose that medication if you already had an illness that that medicine says no because of those risk factors and the studies that they have already shown that this is what causes. So there's so many issues that can and cannot. Not everybody has those problems, of course, that take the medications. You know, um, I have not experienced, and knock on wood, in my, let's see, a year and 4 months that I've been on the Kesimpta, I have experienced mild symptoms, but none of the more serious um, side effects that caused me to have to go to the hospital or get off the treatment, excuse me, stop my treatment. So and that was my choice. I did my research and chose the one that I was willing to um, deal with in case something affects became a problem. And I like to say it as I chose the less of the evil. Because there's some medications that you want to cry and be like, "Oh my God," and it's scary. It's you get fearful. Um, then it comes to, you hate, the disease, of course, but you have to live it. And what's going to become of that if you don't get on medication? Um, and then there's sometimes to where um, you have one of the major side effects. Something happens, with your blood work, because being a Kesimpta, I get checked every 3 months. So, and along comes with other health issues, and sometimes they may have to take you off of it until you clear, they get something else that has risen, a health issue that has risen. When that is dealt with and gone, say you have an infection in your body, they will take you off that medication to get that infection under control, and then do that testing again, because before you are given a disease modifying treatment, you have to have blood work done. You have to have some medications. You have to have an eye exam. Oh, it's broad spectrum of tests that each medication you have to have before they'll prescribe the medication to you. They're not going to give you just any medication if you have fatty liver disease, if you are diabetic, so this is, a big deal when it comes to the medications and what one you choose, and what you're willing to, possibly deal with down the line. So it's important about that. Okay. So let me move on, because I could sit and talk forever about medicines and starting, stopping, and all that kind of stuff. So just know that no doctor, from what I know, and my doctors, I've had few, so no one has ever told me stop taking your medication. Um, if you stop, either it's medical reasons or you're choosing to do so. There's a lot of warriors out there that have chosen the healing approach, okay, the natural healing approach, and not on medications, in which that's solely their journey and stuff. So sometimes um you will have to stop medications for a certain reason, and then you may be able to get back on if those tests that they take to approve you to take that medicine come back a-okay, or sometimes you have to choose a different medication. So it's all really depends on the cards at that time. Okay. So um let's see. And that was number 5, guys. And that was my answer, what I've been through and experienced too with medications. Kesimpta is my 4th medication. I was on Copaxone, Abagio, Tecfidera. Both of those killed my GI. I had to get off them, and I wasn't on them both together. I was on them, one first, then tried the other one. I was injecting myself 7 days a week for 3 years. That was rough, you guys. Oh my gosh, that was rough. But I was so happy that um after getting the bad news that I had multiple sclerosis, being told, but we have medication to stop and help your progression. I was happy as hell, right? Because there's no cure. You have this, there's no cure, but we have medication that can, help that. So I said, give it to me. Which one? Give me, and of course I did the research. And at that point in time, being newly diagnosed, and I guess where my disease was at that time, um, my doctor did prescribe me Copaxone, which I did end up agreeing, but he felt that I should start there. And Copaxone now is one of the earlier treatments. Nowadays, there's many others, that come after it. But I was so happy to know that I would receive treatment for this incurable um, monster, you know. Um, so the Abagio, the Tecfidera made my hair fall out. I could barely function, do anything because my stomach, my just my insides hurt every day. I had problems eating because it just had my stomach in shambles and in pain and blah. That lasted in between both of those orals, maybe 4.5 months. And that's I had to get off. I was suffering. I was, and actually, I believe, during that course, I was in the hospital. It threw me into the hospital. It was, and at that point too, I was on a relapse. I was on those nasty orals, just one of them. It wasn't both. And in the hospital, well, they sent me home the first time, not my first relapse, but for the first time, they sent me home on an oral steroid. Oh my God, I knew I was being poisoned. I just knew it, and I kept saying I was so sick. Well, I ended up getting blood clot in my spleen at the same friggin' time. Yeah. So here I am on a relapse. Here I am taking um, pills orally for the relapse, 44 steroid pills a day. 44, guys. You're right. I said 4. The pharmacists questioned me. They didn't fill it until they questioned the doctor. They said, "We've never heard of this. We can't prescribe it to you." And I was like, okay, I even questioned it. The doctor said, "Yes, it's okay to prescribe her that." Did it. Okay, so I'm popping these pills. I'm sick as shit. Excuse my French. Um, I was so sick. I know the combination or one of those caused my blood clot. So, mind you, I'm relapse. I'm in a relapse. And each one of my relapses have been hell. I mean, if you guys follow me and you watch my videos, I was at one point became suicidal during a relapse because I get hit really bad, really hard. And that's before I got strong, got my faith stronger, and I've got a lot backing me now. I probably had it then, but didn't know. Okay. Just supporting me and myself and driving the wheel, driving my disease. I'm in control now, and that will never happen again. But so, mind you, if you've had a relapse, you guys know the agony, the pain. Um, when you just feel like your body wants to shut off, like your brain or your breathing is going to stop at any moment, and there's not shit you can do about it but call 911. Oh man, I've been there, done that quite a bit in the last 5 years. Um, but um, so relapse, oral medication that kills me, steroids to treat the relapse. Oh, and then my tongue turned furry, furry, white, nasty. Then I had to drink this liquid to make it. Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, that was the worst ever. That's the past, and I'm sure I'll never, never come across that again. But yeah, so that was a big, big, big ordeal for me with all that. So, ugh, yeah. So medications and stuff are really important, and you've got to educate yourself on how potentially they could affect your health outside of MS. Better words said like that. Okay. Okay, so experts say even if multiple sclerosis symptoms are relatively minor, it is important to get treatment. Only 8 months out of 5 years without meds for me, I got a new lesion a year ago, April, and that's why I chose Kesimpta is because I did stop my treatment for 8 months as I had come out of the hospital and um, wanted to start a different med, get off the Tecfidera. Tecfidera was my last med a year ago this last April. So when I got out of the hospital, we were still in the pandemic, and I was skeptical of getting on the Kesimpta because it suppresses your immune system. Well, with COVID, I was worried, and of course, for myself and for my family, I felt okay, of course, coming out of the hospital after being treated with the Solumedrol for the 5 days, 5 days. Um, of course, it took me about 2 weeks to start feeling the effects of the medication to got that relapse down. Um, then I was like, oh, did the research, everything, waited a while, talked to my neuro. He said, yeah, you can take Kesimpta. So I waited. Within that 8 months, guys, I was back in the hospital on a relapse, a new lesion. And since then, of course, and not ever again, unless medically necessary, will I stop my DMT. Mm-mm. Learn my lesson, um, in which I knew it was a possibility, of course, but I was like, oh, I'll be careful, you know, and I felt really good, what my really good is, opposed to what my really bad, what I've experienced. So I was like, shit, I got this. Yeah, okay. So my experience, I will never stop my DMT unless for some reason I have to, for whatever stint of time, and then I could go back on it or go back on something different. No, not your girl. That's no for me. um, so moving on to um number six. Number six. Okay. Um, people with multiple sclerosis should not become pregnant. Is that a myth? Yeah, it's a myth. Yeah. Um, doctors say um, a pregnancy is not high risk if you have multiple sclerosis at any time while you're pregnant. No, you don't become high risk because of the multiple sclerosis. Um, it says that also, and this is medically now what I'm giving you. Um, they say that your child will not have will not be born with multiple sclerosis if you deliver while you're pregnant, you know, while you have MS if you have a child. Um, that's what, things, what I'm reading from doctors and stuff. Now, for me, my experience is my kids are older, so I haven't had any children in the last 5 years, but who's to say I didn't have MS 30 years ago? 30, let me see. My last child, I believe she's 34, maybe 35 next month, or 33 now and 34 next month. I'd have to do the math, guys. Um, but who's to say? Because years back then, they just didn't say, "Oh, well, we think you're pregnant. Let's give you an MRI." Right? Who knows what was there long time ago? Okay. So, and who's to say some things now, due to my experience with being stricken with MS, I can say 15, 20 years ago, I was already having symptoms, but I ignored some of them because I thought, well, okay, no big deal. I feel all right, and kept it pushing, you know, and eventually, down the line till 5 years ago, it all added up to shit. This was MS doing that. I can recall, and people around me can recall, yeah, I remember you kept saying you didn't feel good just out of the blue, and I've had other tests done to prove and rule out other diseases. Okay. Because doctors, we're just rolling out stuff, and they don't take it as seriously if you go in there and say, and which I did. I remember telling my doctor, my legs are really weak. They feel, I'm getting too tired too quick. My legs feel like I'm running marathons when I'm not. Well, your age, you have kids, and, running after children, it's not easy, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, and of course, they're the professionals. So I believed them, you know, and, other things can cause you to be fatigued and da 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 da. And, you know, they'll go down the list, you know, well, when you go down the list and there's nothing else to blame, you blame something, but they don't say, let me put you in an MRI machine and find out if you have MS or anything in the brain causing you to have. I had numbness in my face, and, oh, you didn't have a stroke. We know that, so it's really kind of a bouncing ball with things medically. They won't just, offer you MRI because supposedly it's really expensive. But I'll be damned. Sometimes when people have so many symptoms and they just because they can talk and they're coherent and walk, that doesn't mean something's not wrong. So do away with the MRI, make something that's less expensive and save a lot of people's lives. Save people a lot of misery, a lot of headaches, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, because MS is a life changer in every aspect. People have had to leave their long life careers, long life career. They've lost their marriage, relationships, friendships. Yeah, there's got, well, and then now and I think I said this last week or the week before, now they could test you for MS, get a diagnosis through blood work. I just did a read on that. I think came out of uh Boston, maybe. There's Harvard and Boston. I follow a lot with Boston because I follow um a neurologist by the name of Aaron Boster out of Ohio, and he started a clinic in Boston, and he's really, really good. I advise you guys to follow him, Aaron Boster on YouTube. He's fantastic, this doctor, and he's so hands on. He shares everything, new stuff, old stuff. He talks about everything. He does Q&A. He does everything live. He'll have guests on the show from his clinic, other doctors, and it's almost if you're going to the doctor without going to the doctor. And you can research him, you can look him up, you can, check, fact check him all you like. He's real. Um, so, and he does a lot of lives all the time. So, I pay attention to reads that come out of his schooling. Um, so, but okay, so pregnant, if your baby then a woman who does not have. Okay, so it says you are no more likely to have any pregnancy problems or your baby have any abnormalities, any different um, numbers scaled than a woman who doesn't. Okay, so it's a myth that you should not want to bear children if you are diagnosed with MS because you're afraid of the MS factors. Okay, but always, always check with your neurologist, check with your doctor. We all know, you know, to be healthy if you want to carry a child and have a healthy baby. That's not a normal things, a woman talks about if she knows she's considering planning to have a child. You need a healthy body, of course, right? Um so that is a myth. Okay. So number 7 is I have multiple sclerosis. Will my children? Is that true or is it not? Anybody got the answers? Or you want to know the answers? Okay. It's a myth. Um, your children do not have to have multiple sclerosis if you have children. They There's a lot of factors from my knowledge about um, being diagnosed with MS. It's not just one stricken thing. Epstein-Barr virus, yes, that's a contributing factor, but that is the only factor. There's many factors. Smoking is a factor. Living on in North America is a factor. They're finding that in hotter regions, MS, multiple sclerosis, has a higher rate in people, and mainly so women, than cooler regions of the world. So there's so many different factors, guys, that they're finding that contribute to multiple sclerosis. Okay. So I'll read what I found. It says, while there is a genetic component to MS, it does not pass directly from parent to child in a predictable way. My answer to this question is, for me, in my experience, as of today, my 3 children do not have signs of multiple sclerosis. Okay. I have a son who's 40, I have a son who's 38, and I have a daughter who is 34. She'll be 35 next month. Now that I did that math real quick, I know her age. So none of them show, and God, please don't put that upon my child. I ask you, now, to spare my children in that fact, with multiple sclerosis. Um, yes. So there are 3 healthy, um, grown adult bodies, and neither none of them have shown any signs of multiple sclerosis. So thank you, Jesus. Give you the glory in your name. Amen. Um, so that's number 7. Number 8 is um, people with multiple sclerosis must avoid all sources of stress and anxiety. We all know this, right, guys? Because stress isn't good for anybody. That's not even a factor. Any word with stress is, yes, avoid. Avoid stress at all cost. You don't even have to be stricken with MS. Stress isn't good for nobody. Even if you are a healthy, able body, no, just stress on the mind, and oh, the emotional, yeah, oh no, nope, cut it out, right? So it says, and of course, it says it is true that stress events can worsen your MS symptoms for some time, and definitely so, and that's can cause us to have a flare. Me myself, I don't believe that. Let me mark my page right here where I've written my stuff down. Me myself, my experience, I don't believe that stress factors cause a relapse. Now, this is just my opinion. I think because it goes deeper, it's longer, there's more to it. It causes stress. A relapse is new lesions on the brain, neck, and spinal cord, right? Well, to my knowledge and experience, that is something inside our body that's attacking those places that causes the damage of our myelin sheath. And that's what covers our nerves. Um, so I don't think an argument with someone, and I'm very upset, emotionally upset, can trigger that. But I do feel and I do believe, as far as my experience, stress, being upset can flare your symptoms even more because that's affecting our nervous system, right? When we cry, we're emotional, we're happy or sad, that stuff, or worried, that affects our nerves. Okay. So that is called like a flare. It doesn't A flare is no lesions, no new lesions on the brain, but it aggravates what damage is already done and can flare up, which is called exacerbation, can cause um your symptoms to be heightened. Okay. So, and which I experienced definitely when I'm in a flare. Spoke to one of my warriors about this. They contacted me yesterday, or their our time frame is different, so it could have been this morning. Um, that he was experiencing um serious fatigue. Oh, what else was it? Fatigue, and just was really tired and didn't feel too well. And then all of a sudden, bam, he got this all kind of energy. And he was wondering, am I in a relapse, or do you think this could be a flare? Well, flares last different timing than a relapse does. You'll know a relapse doesn't stop. Mm-mm. It doesn't stop right away, and your symptoms kind of get worse and they kind of bounce, and it causes different symptoms and more because if you have a new lesion or you have activity in your brain, neck or spinal cord, that's that's attacking activity, then those symptoms are going to be more. Then you may have more symptoms, as I have experienced. But once I was treated with the medications in the hospital, um, by week 2, I started coming back to baseline. Okay. Relapses are different. Flares, they kind of subside on their own. If you take it easy on yourself, they kind of go away on their own. You get better over a couple of weeks. Flares don't necessarily need to be treated with solumedrol. Not necessarily. Have I had it? Yes, I have. Yes, that has been. I've been into the doctors on flares, and because of the symptoms, what they were causing, they treated me, of course, to shut it down. So thank God, right? Yeah. So let's see. Stress, anxiety is not good. It contributes to our nerve system, and our nerve system is damaged because of the MS. So of course, it's going to wreak havoc on our body. So keep the stress gone, you guys. Keep it gone. Um, um, okay, so that was number 8. Okay, and our last one on the list. Okay, and it's a very important one, and this should have been actually number 1, because anytime you hear news of a disease that you are not informed about, you don't know nothing about it, and it's frightening. And I went through it, and I'm sure um all my warriors out there have went through the same thing at diagnosis. Okay, hey, if you guys got water right now, take a sitting right there by the side of you, take a drink. I'm a little dry mouthed. I'm doing nasal spray because I've always have allergies, and it makes my throat dry. So yeah, I needed some uh water. Okay, so number 9 is um is multiple sclerosis always fatal? And this is how that it's worded. And is that a myth? Is multiple sclerosis fatal? Anybody have the answer? So that answer is, although MS is a lifelong condition, it is not a fatal one. Okay. Multiple sclerosis is not a death sentence, guys. You know, um, when you're hit hard with some news like that, and you read about it, you just think, wow, I could possibly die from this, on what it can do to the body. You know what I mean? It can it lead? Depends, on a lot of factors. If you have something else, um, I've seen and I've read and I've heard testimonies on sites that I am, people, have passed away from complications due to multiple sclerosis. But when you are given that diagnosis, they tell you it is not a fatal disease. Okay. It says a study finds having multiple sclerosis reduces a person's lifespan by about 7 years. Now, I have heard this um, for the whole 5.5 years that I've been doing research and reads and I listen. I'm just consumed by that. And I find that it has given me strength to share my knowledge, to share my journey with it as I learn as well on the changes that it can do for my daily life and to my body. But understanding it and knowing it and controlling it, being able to control those things is key. Education is key, guys. I can't say this enough. Educate your family, friends, colleagues, whatever relationships you have with people, to share the education part, because not only will that give them a sense of your daily life, or they'll know how to support you in time of need. And it's about understanding on the counseling, the birthdays, counseling, the anniversary parties of your parents. It, it it'll change your dynamic as your life changes, your friends, your relationship, your husband, your kids, all those relationships do take change when you are given a diagnosis such as one as multiple sclerosis, because there's no cure. It can be managed, so there's that to consider. Education with everyone around you is key. Let me finish reading this. As scientists keep in investigating this disease and researching, and I wrote so fast I can't even read my writing. Developing new treatments, MS is likely to have an increasingly reduced effect on a person's lifespan. That's good, great news. Okay. I didn't only just read this, guys, I read the studies before to come on and spread that information. So that's terrific. 7 years isn't great anyway, but to knock off 2 years of that and say, hey, we've determined, we have done studies now of 5 years spanned, 4, 3, 2. Who knows what's next, guys? That's why awareness, education is key. You don't know unless you go out there and get the information. And if you are like me, this is why I'm doing the podcast, because there's someone out there right now that's getting diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and they're wondering, who in hell, where can I turn to? Right? We
Mhm.
just we have to pass on the knowledge with our experience, and that's why I come on here every Tuesday night to share my journey with you guys. So that's it for my 9 myths of multiple sclerosis. I hope this has helped someone out there. I know these were the questions, some of them that I've had in the beginning, and I've gotten those answers, but not everyone that is searching comes across the same information or doesn't have the access. Some people don't have the internet, of course, to Google and find out a lot of things, or insurance to go see a doctor, but they may have internet and they may run across the information, spreading awareness. So that's it for me, guys, but I'm going to keep you for the next 15 seconds, maybe 20. As you guys know, I shared with you an important um, thing in my life with my dad. We both had lung screenings, as you guys know. And recently, I shared with you that they found something in my dad's lungs that they suspect to be the C word. Okay. And we are going down the path of determining what was there. So yesterday, about 12:30 in the afternoon, he had an appointment to have a biopsy done. It's called bronchoscopy, and that went really well. So they went down in his lungs both side and took some biopsies and stuff, and he recovered nicely. He almost walked out of there. Mind you, Pops is 82, strong as bull. And look, my dad's 82. He doesn't walk with a walker. He doesn't wear glasses. And the dude is strong as all outdoors. But his spirits are up. He's sore today, and he's eating soups and some crackers and everything, and he's back to his normal self. He got up this morning, made coffee and stuff. So this is the first step of what possibly could be a good thing. We needed to know. We need to know. Doctors needed to get in their tech biopsies and find out exactly what's going on in there. So you guys, please keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and I will keep you updated, of course, on what is next. We have a few appointments coming up for him next, and I'll share that with you guys next week. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed our two-part show. I really did, because I really enjoyed hitting on those factors and giving you my experience on them. Okay, because not every day do you get someone that comes up to you and asks you, those type of questions, because they get personal. So it was a terrific topic to share that with you guys for these last 2 Tuesdays. So I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, it's free, and it takes a few seconds of your time to subscribe to the channel. Share this video, as you may reach someone that has no one to turn to and to talk to and to share their agony of this invisible disease called multiple sclerosis. That's all I ask. And asking everybody, please come back next Tuesday, share your comments down below, and until then, warrior vibes going out to all of you. Peace. I'm gone.
Hey. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for bringing more awareness. For me, like I said, I just do this so that people out there who are suffering from multiple sclerosis have some type of place where they can come to and maybe get some information that might help them get through another day. You can hear my dog in the back. He's anxious to go for a walk. He's you know how Belgian Malinois are. They're full of energy. So with that being said, be blessed, everybody. Love one another, and if you can, pay it forward. All right, because you just never know what kind of day somebody else is having. So have a very blessed day. Peace.
Mama.